Okay, I hope you guys can hear and see me okay. I'm just gonna give it a second until I get a confirmation from everyone that you can hear me and see my screen okay. It's pretty early in Australia as well, and for those who don't know, I'm actually streaming this from South Australia. Okay, thank you, Ronat. That looks great. So, this is not how we imagined it when we set this place up. We didn't think it's gonna be completely pitch black behind me, but it's actually very pretty. So hopefully by the time that we finish the stream, you can see the background. It's actually the Adelaide city right behind me, and it was beautiful at the time that I was setting up. But it's 6 a.m. and I wanted to do it at 6 a.m. So we aim it for 2:30 p.m. in New York time because most of our prospects and clients are joining in from New York. So that's why we wanted to do it this time. So for whoever's joining from any part of any part of Sri Lanka or Australia, I apologize. Hi Grace. Hi cousin. Absolutely, you can ask questions, and I can see the chat right here. And yeah, let's get into it. The only problem though, there's a very scary flying cockroach sitting right in front of me. And he's my only audience, except for you guys. So hopefully you can keep company. And if he attacks me, you are all witnesses. All right, let's get into it. So in this webinar, I'm gonna go slow. I'm not gonna rush it. If it will be recorded for whoever wants to, get. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting distracted by the chat here, so I'm not gonna look at it for a while. So I'm gonna go slow. I'm gonna answer your questions. I'll look at the chat in a second, but if you have any questions, just ask me, and let's try to cover as much as possible because there's so much that I can provide. Look, at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. We're just creating social media and content, but at the same time, this has been one of the craziest things that I've experienced in my life because this is what I do, of course. Creating a personal brand has just completely changed the game for some of the people that I have worked with. So I actually started off working for Davey Fogati, and I built his personal brand. And the amount of leverage that he has created is insane. So I'm going to just spill all the secrets today. Exactly, like after watching this live stream, you should be able to go on your own and create a profitable personal brand from scratch. And that's my aim. So that's what we're gonna aim for. Cool. So what we'll cover: why personal brands matter, the 4C method, how to find your niche, your first content strategy, how to build credibility, and I'm also going to touch on Accelerate, which is our personal branding program, and I'm going to do a live Q&A at the end. So these are all my socials. I actually haven't put some of them. I actually have multiple pages, so just so that nobody gets confused, I have put only like few of them. So this is my LinkedIn. LinkedIn is what I use to hire people. I would say right now, with growing my agency, LinkedIn actually is creating the biggest leverage for me. And because I can hire people at scale, I would just put up a job post there, and I would get like over 200, 300 applicants just applying for that job through LinkedIn. And I also am building in public on LinkedIn, and that has helped me get talent that are super unorthodox. Like for example, the other day, I I just I didn't realize there's gonna be ads on the on this stream. Let me, yeah. So the other day I didn't realize that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. The other day I hired a guy who is really good with AI automations, and super unorthodox talent to find, because he was specifically solving something, specifically AI chat agents he was solving, and that talent was required within our agency. And I was putting up some posts about that. I was building in public, and he reached out and said, hey, like I can solve this for you. And he solved it actually free of charge, because he wanted to put that on his resume, and he just solved it free of charge for us. So like that kind of leverage is insane, because you would pay easily 5-10 grand to do a solution like that within a company. And because I'm building in public on LinkedIn, I'm able to hire that talent with no effort, zero to almost no effort. So and this is my Instagram. Oh, actually, sorry, this is my Facebook. I love that there's a question and answer session at the end. That's going to help a lot. Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't realize there were going to be ads. Oh my god, there are already so many questions. I didn't realize there are going to be ads. I'm sorry about that. I'll see if I can turn that off though, if it helps. And then yeah, that's my Facebook, and this is my Instagram, and oh, I didn't realize I went to 115. And that's my YouTube. I haven't really posted on my YouTube in over, I don't know, over 1.5 years, but I'm still getting so many views because I built a brand there and I've just left it there. But people are watching over and over again. So if you want to watch some Sri Lankan comedy, you can actually go to my YouTube and watch it. But yeah, you can see how I'm keeping each and every channel just like, for example, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are kind of like similar brand for me. Red background, and I'm a little bit funny, a little bit building in public, business person, but LinkedIn I'm completely professional. So I'm actually keeping the branding on each platform according to that platform, but we'll talk about those. All right, cool. So these are the things that we're going to cover, and let's get things started. So quick housekeeping things. Use the chat box if something is unclear, and I'll keep an eye on it. This session will be recorded for internal use, but there are some, like for example, there are some clients who are joining in who have asked for the recording, so we're gonna share the recording with our clients. And also try to stay present. This is an interactive webinar. I know that might be a little bit boring, but if you stay present, you can ask good questions and be respectful. We're all here to learn and support each other, so be respectful on the chat. Cool. So who am I and why should you care? My agency is just 2 years old, and we are at a million ARR at the moment. It started very, very small. It was just me and another guy, just someone that I hired from another agency to help me, and we started managing a few clients like Davey Fogati, Goose McGrath, and then we started managing Jane Lou. All of these clients came in very early on for us, and Jane Lou's still our client. Thank you, Jane. And now I manage sharks on Shark Tank like Robert Herjavec, Daniel Lubetsky, Laurie Greener, and all of these great sharks have been with us for a long time, and they are building their personal brands. And I'll tell you why in a second. And I also became 40 under 40 in Adelaide, which is cool. So why a personal brand is the ultimate leverage for yourself. 90% of the deals now are starting from social. I don't even know someone who would not have a social media channel in this day and age, and who have a business like completely offline. I mean, there are businesses, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all the businesses that you guys would be interested in, that you are joining and asking questions for. They would all be, the deals would go through social media, and then people buy from people, not logos, and also like a strong personal brand unlocks opportunities like clients, jobs, speaking gigs. That's what I just mentioned earlier. Whoops, what happened there? That's what I mentioned earlier about how I hiring people from LinkedIn, and that's the best part about having a personal brand for me right now, that I can hire people through my personal brand. I'm creating leverage through that. So for example, Davey, he started his personal brand so he can get traffic into Daily Mentor, his e-commerce coaching program, and that has been crazy. I'm not allowed to talk about numbers, but he has created a multi-million-dollar business through his personal brand. It's not the Udi, but yeah. So when you look at a personal brand, people just think that it's just content. Like, you just become the face of your brand and you are creating content. But you should think about your personal brand from this perspective. It's a marketing, like everything that you're doing needs to be a funnel. You first need to announce about your product or the service with the rest of the world. It could be geolocation targeted, like for example, if you're a real estate agent in New York, you have to create content for people in New York, and in that case you might as well run ads, because you want to target a certain customer profile. But if you're somebody who's selling a cooking book, for example, then you can sell it globally, and then talking about your specific skill is the benefit of a personal brand. Like, you can create content and broadcast to the entire world right now through TikTok, through Instagram, through LinkedIn, X, YouTube, wherever it may be. You can broadcast to the entire world. There's 7 billion people who might want to use your service. Imagine that. Like, right now that I'm creating this content and people are joining from New York, from Sri Lanka, from India, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Canada. So I'm broadcasting to all of these people and they're joining. Like, imagine that kind of leverage. It did not exist some time ago. And even if you were a faceless brand, say for example, you have a Yochi, frozen yogurt business, and if you said, you don't really need to go live for a frozen yogurt business, but imagine that you're a traditional digital marketing agency, and then you said, hey, like, I'm going live, and then you ran ads. I mean, people would join, but I don't think it's going to be, it's 60 people right now, but 60 is good enough for a webinar like this, and it's the first time us doing this, and it's not going to be as impactful if you were to do this through a faceless brand, is what I'm trying to say. Like, because I'm broadcasting this through my through my personal brand, using my face, I'm broadcasting this on LinkedIn, on my TikTok, on my Instagram. We're sending emails to our prospects and clients, and they're all joining in because they trust my face and they wanna hear what I have to say. The flying cockroach is moving. I'm a little bit scared, but let's get through this. Cool. So awareness, top of funnel awareness, is what you are creating through a personal brand. And then consideration is pretty much, you can send people through your personal brand to a landing page. So what we call a landing page is a traditional website back in the day. You put all your product catalog or service catalog on a website and tell people, hey, like, if you want to use my services or if you want to buy my products, just go to this website and you can purchase on that website. So now we call it a landing page because it's part of the funnel. You can create top of funnel awareness through your content, through your personal brand, and you can tell people, hey, come into the certain word and I will send you the link to go to the landing page. Or there's a link in my bio, go and click on that link and then you will land on the landing page. Although that's a little bit of an old practice right now, I'll explain why. And then they land on the landing page and then they sign up for the product or the service that you have. It could be, say that you are a traditional digital marketing agency and you want to teach people how to create 30 pieces of content within few minutes, let's say, using AI. But you don't want to reveal, there's a product and people are coming on the landing page and seeing that product, the AI, but they are skeptical to buy it because they are not sure whether this is the best product to buy in the market. So instead, they would just fill up their information, and they would sign up for a newsletter. You can actually ask them, hey, you don't have to purchase right now, but if you want to learn about what we are doing and any how we are building the product, or if you want a free product before you use the actual monetized product, just give us your details and then we'll send you information. So they would fill up their information, and that is your real community. Because in the awareness stage, you're only borrowing your audience, you're renting an audience. So all these followers that I showed you earlier on my channels, all of these followers, these are just, I'm renting them. I don't own any of them. I mean, I will never own people anyway, but still, all of these hundreds of thousands of people, I'm just renting their attention. But when they fill up their information in the consideration stage, that is where I'm building my real community. That is where I can send them information, I can get them to consider my product, I can keep on sending any product that I'm coming up with to them, and then hopefully, through that nurturing, so that's what we call converting, they become a loyal customer where they purchase the product, they try the product, and they like it, and so they are looking forward to the next product that we have to that we are going to come up with. So you have to think about personal brand building through a funnel like this so that it makes sense. So it doesn't become an empty attempt at building, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to create content. It's not the correct way to go, especially if you want to make money. Even if you don't want to make money, let's say that you're just trying to give back to people and you're not interested in making money, you just want to build a personal brand, that would be a very small percentage of people on this live. Even then, you want to create a community around that personal brand. Sorry if I'm moving a little bit because this flying cockroach is really, all right, all good. Somebody give love to the flying cockroach from USA, California. Good to see you, brother. Oh, good to see you as well. Still seeing ads? Oh, sorry. Cool. Turn off the ads. Cool. All right. So this is how we want to think about a marketing funnel, about a personal brand through a marketing funnel, so that whatever that you're doing, you can see the return on investment at the back of it, at the back of the funnel. So it doesn't become an empty attempt at, hey, like I'm just gonna get views, I'm just gonna get followers. Like I said, those are just rented. Their attention is just rented. You don't really own them per se. Cool, I hope that makes sense, but if you have any specific questions about that, please let me know. But the most important thing is that when I ask, so we have a lot of people inquiring about our program Accelerate. So Accelerate is a personal brand coaching program that we introduced back in November. It has gone insanely well. There's so many people reaching out to me and wanting to sign up, but we can't, because we can't operationally service all of them. Is one, we have limited capacity, but I'm in the process of hiring people and growing my team. So we have a lot of prospects who are just in the waiting room at the moment. But another thing that we don't sign up everybody is because some of them can't tell us why they want to start a personal brand. You must know why. If you don't know a why, like I said here, you're just going to create awareness and your return on investment is not going to be justified. So you have to either have a purpose. Hey, like I want to just give back. I want to teach people how to cook fried rice. But if you want to make money, then you should have, I want to eventually do private cooking sessions for billionaires, and that's what I want to do. I want to gather leads for that. So then that's a specific target that you have, and you must also assign a number to it. I want to get 10 clients in 3 months, and that's a great place for us to be in, for us to be in. So we are signing up people who have that specific target. Hey, this is exactly what I want to do, and then we sign them up. But sometimes, like most of the time, 95% of the time, they don't have that target. So what we do is we help them refine that target, define the target during a discovery call. But even then, they're like, that's not exactly what I want to do. Fair enough, figure it out and come back to us. So that's how we work together. So you first need to figure out your why. The ads are from your personal. You will need to upgrade into your YouTube. Oh yeah. So I am seeing the ads because I haven't bought YouTube Premium. So, but I have YouTube Premium through another channel. This is my second channel. Yeah, but I didn't realize that I turned on the ads for this live stream. So if you're seeing the ads, I'm sorry. Buy YouTube Premium. Cool. So why did Dave Fogati start a personal brand? So this is me and Davey filming back in the day. He started a personal brand because he wanted to drive traffic into his mentorship program, Daily Mentor. Daily Mentor is the best e-commerce coaching program out there. For those who don't know, go and check it out. This is like insane value, and I'm pretty sure that they are at capacity as well right now, because I know a lot of people who are at Daily Mentor. If you're an e-commerce owner and if you're not in Daily Mentor, pretty weird. I'm joking, but yeah, but it's like obvious value. So he started off his personal brand, doing all of these videos where he would like coach people how to set up an e-commerce business, and his story, and some of the tutorials he actually have archived on his original channel, and he's segregating into a second channel about how to build a Shopify how to build a Shopify page, how to run Facebook ads, how to run TikTok ads. So all of these tutorials were the ones that originally were created with, like when I was working with him. And then we started creating this video around his story, which got like 5.2 million views. And so all of this content contributed to him driving traffic into Daily Mentor. And I also work with Robert Herjavec. He's one of my mentors, and one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our lifetime. And I'm so blessed to be able to work with him and get mentored by him. And he built his personal brand because he wants to get, not he wants to, he gets speaking gigs already. These leads for his speaking gigs, they don't come from his social media, but at the same time he is getting booked for these speaking gigs because of his popularity on social media right now. Because some people don't even know him from Shark Tank. Some people actually know him from YouTube, from Instagram, from TikTok, because they are watching his content. We are gathering heaps of millions of views on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We maintain about 16 mil month-on-month impressions for Robert. And so these booking agents, they keep on booking him, but there are also people coming to his landing page, which we created for him, and then inquire to book him for speaking gigs, and then we just pass that on to the relevant team. And then also he gets people reaching out to him, wanting to get him to invest in their businesses, which is insane. Like so much of opportunity that he has created around him because of his brand. And he gets to have he just recently had dinner with Alexa Morsi, and all of these great people are coming together because of their personal brands, and that's the kind of leverage that you can create. And then Daniel Lubetsky is another great entrepreneur that we work with. He's a billionaire entrepreneur who created the brand Kind. He's the OG of protein bars, and he's starting his personal brand because he wants to drive traffic into this movement of his. So he's completely purpose driven. He's not trying to make any more money. Billionaire, what is he going to do with another $1 billion? So it's called Builders Movement. He just wants to eradicate the polarity between us versus them mentality, primarily in the US at the moment. So he's just getting people to become a builder. So he calls them builders who are trying to get rid of that mentality, and then he's trying to sign up people for that. So this is a video that we created the other day, which got 2.3 million views. So how to create a personal brand? So I'm just talking about why right now, but you're here to you're here to learn a framework. So there's no framework, but I had to put something together. So I thought about it, and I thought, okay, cool, I can call it the 4C method. And I just called it the 4C method, and here we are. So first step is clarity. You have to define your niche and your point of view. I'll explain. Second, content, your messaging and formats. Third, credibility. You have to give proof and authority. And then community. You have to engage and grow the community. So this is the framework that I came up with that you can follow to build your personal. There are so many other frameworks, and if you ask ChatGPT or Claude, it will come up with I don't know, a million other frameworks, because you can approach this in any way, but it's all just first principles. At the end of the day, it's just like basic fundamentals. But yeah, this accurately captures it. So just wanted to explain this graphic. So this is a customer called Matt Tinkler, who joined our accelerator program. He was getting 100 views, 200 views for the longest time on his Instagram and TikTok, and we managed to crack it open. 46,000 views on this video. He's just going into the phase 2, been with us for the past 3 months, and it's going insanely well for him, and like obvious value. If he's on this live, he might share as well. But just the program that we have come up with is insane value. So if you know your why, you should reach out to our team, and then we can perhaps work together. Cool. So section 1 is clarity. So what is clarity? Your specific problem that you solve, specific person you help. Look at what I'm doing. I'm specifically helping entrepreneurs who want to create their ultimate leverage through a personal brand. That's who I'm talking to. So you have to think about, what do people already ask me for help with? What problem have I personally overcome? What would I create content about even if it didn't go viral? So answer these questions yourself, and then you should be able to find your niche through those answers. Yeah, it could be anything, there are people who create content about absolutely the craziest thing that you've ever seen on the internet, and there's an offer at the back of it. So this person, she's not our client, by the way, but this person, I saw that she has a intimate product. So the content is at the back of it. I mean, at the top of it. Cool. All right, I will get to the questions. I can see that there's so many questions here. I'll get to the questions in a second, but so real examples of your niche: helping shy founders become confident on camera, helping moms turn side hustles into income, helping agency owners scale past 50,000 per month. That is a niche that I was going for early on, when I started my agency, when I was cracking 50K. But I just didn't want to break my offer into two, so I am just now going after the personal brands. But I also could do an offer for agency owners who want to scale past 50,000. Oh, didn't realize that it's looking prettier right now. So let me just maybe. Yep. Never mind. Just too big. All right. So let's get back into it. So this is Ali Truitt. Her niche is helping amputees find strength after trauma. So she's actually someone who faced a shark attack about 3 years ago, and then she went to Paralympics, got 2 silver medals. She ran the New York Marathon, and she's just pushing the boundaries of what a human can do. Insane. Like, we're so honored to be working with her. She's one of our clients, and her niche is helping amputees find strength through trauma, which is a really cool purpose-driven brand, and it's a non-profit organization called Stronger Than You Think. You should go check it out. So your turn. If you like, you can put your niche in the chat so I can read who you are. So try to frame it in this way: I help specific audience achieve result by your unique method or angle. So write yours down and see if it makes sense. Here's mine: I help entrepreneurs create their ultimate leverage through a personal brand by my business plus comedy content. I create comedy content, and my ads are also a little bit funny as opposed to the other people in the same space, so we kind of stand out there. But yeah, see if you can put your niche as well. I'll read it out in a second. Cool. So section 2 is content. So what are you exactly going to create? Your POV is what makes you you. So one thing a lot of people make a mistake of is they, okay, cool, there we go. Tisat, I help young founders turn ideas into scalable tech products using practical engineering and lean systems. Great. Okay. So what makes you you is your unique perspective on something, what do you believe that most people don't? What truth do you live by? What will you never post about? So you need to first know these things so that you become your unique situation. A lot of people make a mistake of going and copying other people's content who are in the same space as them. My daughter is just looking at me from the window. Hi. She's up. All right. So a lot of people make that mistake of just copying other people, and then you don't become you. In that case, you have to make sure that you are you. You have to bring your unique perspective. I'm a realtor starting in USA, Southern California, helping people to achieve their real estate goals. Amazing. I help female entrepreneurs over 40 make money with their business online with high ticket sales. Amazing. There's so many great people that we can work with here. I help real estate agents find leads 2 months in at the moment. Cool. All right. Send out. I help travel agents achieve their financial goal. Oh, interesting. And become their own boss along with helping travelers make their dreams come true, stress-free. Cool. It's a little bit, I mean, there are 2 offers there, but great start. Cool. I'll read more, but you have to first understand who you are, and that is just going to help you create your unique situation as you. Kanye West is the greatest example here. He single-handedly is not afraid of becoming who he is. Well, if you're not a Kanye West fan, that's fine. I like his music, and I also think his tweets and the stuff that he say are funny. Also very edgy. Offends people. Not great, but he is uniquely him. I need a room full of mirrors so I can be surrounded by winners. Cool. So start thinking along these lines when you create content. I used to struggle with X. Here's what helped. When I say with X, it's not your X, but something. If you're doing X, you're making a mistake. You literally are. Anyway, but you know what I mean. Most people don't talk about this, but here's what I do if I was starting over. So start thinking along these lines. These used to work back in 2000s, but it's the same principle right now, but people have different hooks. So that's why I put these screenshots here. In this, RIP to all creators using ChatGPT in 2026. This video was posted about 2 days ago, has over 10 million views, I reckon. RIP to creators using ChatGPT in 2026. So I used to struggle with X. Here's what helped. If you're doing X, you're making a mistake. It's exactly this, but her hook is different. Her hook is just this new hook that she has come up with. So coming up with new hooks would be within your research. This is also something that we touch on in our program. It's a little bit too advanced right now for me to jump from first principles to talking about how you can craft different hooks. You can also use AI, Claude, ChatGPT to come up with different hooks for your fundamental idea. But this is like if you're an entrepreneur, you're solving a certain problem. This is exactly these are the lines that you need to be thinking about. So I used to struggle with getting people to buy real estate in my area because nobody knows me. Here's what helped, and you can talk about how you helped a person buy a house and you were really great at it, and you just created the trust, and you're talking about that. And then through that you can portray yourself as, hey, like this person really knows what they're doing, and then I want to buy a house through him. Or it could be, I'm a real estate agent and I'm struggling as well, and he has cracked it, so I want to learn from him. So you can position it in any way, to be honest. Cool. All right. So my daughter is up, but mommy is not up, so she's just looking around and watching my life. Hello. Hi. Okay, I'm not gonna say hi to her. She might jump off the bed. Cool. Build your content around these. Storytelling is the most important thing. You have to tell stories. Don't be boring. Look how I'm mentioning my daughter here, look how I'm mentioning a cockroach here. I'm just, I'm just trying to bring you into this atmosphere with me so that you are here with me. And you have to tell stories in order to do that. You can't just be, okay, this is personal branding, 4C method, follow this. Like, if I did that, I wouldn't have this many people, engaged with the live, listening to me, engaging on the chat. You have to tell stories. Stories are we progress from the Stone Ages to now. People told stories. If you look at the walls of the pyramids, or you see the caves in, I don't know where the caves are, but still, like, you see people drawn things to tell stories, and that's content. If you think about, people are thinking, when you say content, people are thinking only social media content, but content is all around you. Like, when you talk to someone and they tell you a story, that is content. So you have to tell stories about who you are and what you have overcome. If not, it's boring. Education, you need to show people, you need to educate people of what you know, and that's how you can create the authority in the subject that you're speaking about. And then you have to show proof. If you don't show proof, then there's no reason for anybody to believe you, because you could go and say, hey, I made $1 million with an agency, but if you don't show proof, yeah. So here's an example. Social media managers are done in 2026. These Firecloud prompts just replaced an entire content team. So education, right? So in this post, he's saying, he's showing what he knows. I don't really specifically agree with this content, because it's going to be super hard for social media managers to be replaced right now. Because if you're telling stories, ChatGPT, Claude, all of these, they're reasoning. Yeah, they're AI, they reason, but then they won't be able to come up with original, unorthodox stories. So as long as you can tell pretty great stories, you're pretty safe if you're a social media manager. So don't forget to copy the best creator in your niche. I know earlier on I mentioned that you shouldn't copy, but you have to copy what they're doing really well and apply it to your specific scenario. So in this case, say for example, when we created this video for Davey, he told a story about how he went from $500 to $500 million. Unique story, his own story. Nobody would be able to tell that story. But Jordan Welsh, who is also a creator in the e-commerce space on YouTube, told the same story before David did, and he said from he went from he was in debt $30,000 and went to $6 million. He told the story, and then we understood his storytelling technique. He went through a hero's journey. We applied that hero's journey technique into our situation with David's story, and we also applied the thumbnail design, because that thumbnail obviously got Jordan 2.4 million views. So we applied that same thumbnail design to our situation, went insanely well, and Jordan got 2.4, we got 5 million. And a lot of people make this mistake when they create a personal brand. They start off posting everywhere at once, and they would create one piece of content, they would just blast them on every single platform. Not the greatest way to approach this, because it just becomes too hard for you to keep track, analyze the growth. You must pick one platform to dominate first. I'm going to drink some water, and maybe yeah, just see what messages we're getting. I help home buyers, sellers, and investors in real estate here in New York, USA. I help SaaS founders to ship their features 5x faster without pre-built AI modules. Amazing. I believe you don't need a website to make $1 million. You absolutely don't. Um, I help people design and 3D print exactly what they imagine. Wow. Turning ideas into functional physical objects. That's amazing. Um, Building Covix AI, an AI customer management and automation platform, organizes messages from multiple channels and helps business convert leads faster. The background looks amazing. I know. It looks really cool right now. Anyway, cool. So let's continue. So Instagram, if visual lifestyle storytelling, if you have a fashion brand, for example, or if you have a cooking, like a private chef business, Instagram is great for that because it's visual. You can put your catalog on that feed. Instagram is great for that. LinkedIn, B2B founders, if you're selling B2B for founders, for consultants, LinkedIn is great. Look, like you can use all of these platforms for one purpose, but like I've just segregated for what purpose that you would be, using them for. TikTok, if you're a natural speaker, storyteller, trendsetter, TikTok is great. YouTube for long form and evergreen plays. So this is Jay Shetty, one of the greatest creators of our lifetime. So on Instagram, he creates a lot of content with his wife, lifestyle content, very visual. On LinkedIn, he is, he's documenting his journey as a founder, as a business owner. On TikTok, he's posting his podcast snippets, it's storytelling. And then on YouTube, he's doing his long form content, like him talking at Princeton University. So that's exactly how you want to segregate your content. You need to be able to do different pieces of content for each platform, but you wouldn't be able to do that at the beginning. But don't blast out content across all platforms. Then you're putting your platforms at the risk of not working eventually, because of the algorithm is going to see you're posting Instagram content on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to see, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and they're going to push you out, and then you're eventually going to be shadow banned, and it's going to be super hard to like get it back up again. Okay, so section 3 is credibility. How do you create credibility? Without the big numbers, it's so hard to create credibility. You need to share screenshots and testimonials of people saying, hey, like, this is who you are. I put the pictures of me with Robert, Davey in the beginning, so that I'm establishing the credibility with you. I assure you that's not AI, but yeah. And you need to document behind the scenes. LinkedIn is a great platform to do that, and share lessons from real life experience, so that people trust you. Because if you're a real estate agent showing how to do real estate sales, if you're not touching on the pain points of another real estate agent, very likely that you're going to lose the trust of other real estate agents, and they think that you're just bullshitting. You're just following somebody else. So I have all of those things covered on my LinkedIn. These are my articles that I've written on LinkedIn. How we got 23 million within 24 hours for Robert. I manage the personal brands of billion Shark Tank investors. I write these articles so that people can read and understand who I exactly am, and then they can engage with me on LinkedIn. So this is a great way. You need to share lessons from your real life experience. You need to be telling stories. You need to share screenshots, document behind the scenes, and all of these articles, belong in that. Cool. ChatGPT is hella outdated. Yeah. Do we need to keep posting constantly, or is posting at the right time with quality enough? So if you keep on posting constantly, well, it's all about showing up. If you show up daily on somebody's feed, because people are not watching you as if they're watching a Netflix TV show. They are gonna scroll on the feed, and then you show up. Okay, great. They like and comment, or even follow you. Maybe they very likely they won't. They would just watch the content and go off. But if they watch your content for even like 10-15 seconds, then Instagram thinks, okay, cool, like this person engaged with this content, so very likely that this person is gonna engage with another content from the same creator again. So if you are constant with it, if you're more frequent with it, then very likely that specific person who watched your content is gonna get served your content again. So it's about showing up, posting at the right time. I don't think that's true, because if you have a global offer, like I said, organic content is for global offers. Then if not, you'll be running ads. If you have a global offer, then it's about showing up. You just have to create content as frequently as possible. For some of the creators that we work with, they post about 10 times a day. And I know there's some people who are creating AI, UGC content that are posting like 500 times a day. I saw an article on X the other day. I don't know whether it's actually gaining any views, but that's the level that people are trying to go for. I don't think you need to post 500 times a day, which is insane. But if you're posting the right thing, if you're genuinely sharing value, if you're telling stories, if you're documenting your real life experience, very likely your content would work. And then just show up every day. Be natural with it. You are already credible if you have a unique perspective. So you don't need to be a guru. You just need to be honest, helpful, and visible. People don't trust perfection. They trust relatability. So in Thisat's case, I think he's, let me just read. I help young founders turn ideas into scalable tech products using practical engineering and lean systems. In your case, I know that you probably are not like an authority on the subject. If not, like, you won't be joining this live, because becoming an authority on the subject is the last piece of the puzzle. You first start off with creating awareness. You have an offer, you create your community, and then you become an authority on the subject, and that's the journey. So for example, David Fogarty, he's an authority on the subject. Robert Herjavec, he's an authority on the subject. So becoming an authority is the last piece. So I know that you're not an authority right now, but see, if you genuinely told stories about how you have helped another young founder to turn their ideas into scalable tech products, and then you share the journey, hey, like, these are the products that I use, the tangible results that you have generated, then that's all you need. You don't need to be an authority, you don't need to be a guru, you don't need to be perfect with it. Even if you made mistakes on that journey with the people that you've helped, that's very, very attractive. There's this guy called Giuliano Massarelli right now. If you have seen him on Instagram or TikTok, he's this guy who's doing sales calls, and every single sales call that he does, he's failing to sell. But that's the point. Like, he's showing, he's actually hoping, I saw on a podcast, he's hoping that he fails with the sales call, because then he can, because people find that more entertaining than him selling something. So it's very important that you show every single aspect of your life, the real journey, so that people trust you. Because it's about the process. Like, as long as you are within the process, you're at some point on your journey. So any journey is this 0 to 100, let's say. If you're at 1, there's somebody who's starting from 0 who's going to listen to you because you're at 1. If you're at 2, there's somebody who's at 1 who's going to listen to you because you're at 2. So you can be anywhere on the scale. So you just have to share what you are doing right now, and people who are at 50 might come to you and say, hey, like, here's how to get to 50, and then that's going to help you if you're humble enough to listen to other people. Or you will be helping the people who are behind you, and then you might actually even be able to help them sell an offer. Okay, so mommy is up as hi baby, you so daddy. I wish I can show you, but you know. Okay, cool. All right, so how to build a community, section 4. How to build a community from day one. You should reply to every DM if you're just starting out. You can use ManyChat for this. ManyChat is a great platform. It's just like $25 per month right now, I think. It's also, I think, integrated with Instagram right now. I think Instagram bought it at some point. I'm not sure. But yeah, you can set up automations where people commented a certain word and then they would get served a website or like a link that you set up. And ManyChat is great for keeping up with that. And you should comment on other people's accounts in your niche genuinely, not just wow, amazing. You have to come up with genuine comments to put on other people's content because they are going to engage with your content. The least that you can do is just put a comment on somebody who's helping you. It's not about winning by yourself, it's about winning together. So, and that's obviously going to help with the algorithm as well, because like all of these platforms want you to spend more time on the platform. So it's very important that you spend as much time as possible commenting on other people's content, giving love to people who are commenting on your content. And then you can ask your audience questions through your story or through live webinars like this, and it's a great way to keep people engaged. And you can use call to actions often. You can ask them, hey, like comment with this certain word or go to my link in bio. I spoke about link in bio earlier. You shouldn't use link in bio because when you press on the link in bio, it opens on Instagram native platform itself, which is gonna sometimes it's gonna be hard to track. There's tracking that you set up to read data in advertising. It's gonna be hard to track because the Instagram app doesn't allow you to track websites that open within the native platform. And two, it's just not natural for someone to watch content, go to your bio, unless your offer is like insanely, like you're giving $5,000 value for free of charge or something like that. Unless it's obvious value, very unlikely people are going to go off watching content while they're scrolling and go to your bio and press on that link. It's such a long way, rather than them commenting with certain word or liking your content and receiving your offer is far more natural. So this is my ManyChat workflow that I did recently. I created this content and I got them to comment a certain word. I was running this content to hire product owners within our agency. We got over 700 applicants, I think, and they would receive this message, press the link below to apply, and these are all the applicants that we received. It went insanely well. I think the video got more than, I'm not sure how many views it got, but like I think close to 400,000 views. But that's the impact that you can make. The content has to be really good as well. Okay. How open should we really be when competitors are watching? Oh, your idea is never original. Don't care too much about your idea. You should be as open as possible. Is it harder to master personal branding in LinkedIn? Nah, I think it's pretty easy. I have about 5 reviews on Google. Does that help to be credible? I feel that's more than enough. 5 reviews? Are you kidding me? When I started my agency, I had no reviews. I only had like proof posting with David Fogati. I used that picture on my landing page and I got people signing up. So 5 reviews, more than enough. But you can ask for video reviews from those people. Cool. So this is how I set up ManyChat. So it's connected to my Instagram and TikTok. So this specific post on Reel, people say interested. They commented this exact word, and then I'm asking them on this video to comment with interested, and they send the word, and then they receive this message. You can also send them a pre-message, say thanks for sending. I don't have any of that set up. I just send them the message to apply for the role straight away. So ManyChat is a great way to gauge interest and stay connected with your community. So how to analyze performance? This part is going to be a little bit boring, a little bit technical. I'm hoping that you are finding this valuable so far. If you are finding this session valuable, I would really like if you said that on the chat, just so that I know that I'm not just it's a little bit it's a little bit hectic to do this. I really put effort into coming into this location and setting this up. Woke up at 5 a.m. without waking my kid up. So yeah, if you find this valuable, I would really appreciate if you said it's valuable. Okay, so there's a small lag, so cool. So all right, so how to analyze performance? This is YouTube analytics. You would see this when you start YouTube. You would see this. So much value, especially for starters like me. I'm so glad. This is great. Thanks, Rana. Cool. So this is exactly how you would track your analytics. Impressions on top, click-through rate, views from impressions, average view duration, watch time. Does this look familiar? I wonder what it is. Bang. It's a marketing funnel. So everything works in a funnel, as I mentioned. So it's a full circle moment. So when you look at analytics, you also can look at it from a funnel perspective. Look, it's a funnel. So impressions is how many people you show up to. So when you post a video on YouTube, let me actually go to YouTube so it just makes sense. So when you go to YouTube like so, all of these videos, right now this video created 1 impression, this video created 1 impression, and this video created 1 impression. And all of these videos are created just 1 impression. So that's pretty much impressions. And if I click through to this, then that's the click-through ratio, because I saw that thumbnail and I saw, okay, cool, I really want to listen to this, and I clicked on it. So that's the CTR, click-through ratio, based on the impressions. And then if I watch it for a certain time, that's the average watch time. How many people are watching for how long, and average of it. And that in return helps with the it creates this metric called watch time through the average view duration, and that helps with more impressions. So if you have more watch time, then you get more impressions. You show up on more people's home pages. That's how the algorithm works in every single platform. So people are trying to break down the algorithm. Oh, I don't know the algorithm. Oh, I know the algorithm. It's as simple as this. Like, you show up on people's pages, they either watch or they skip, and they watch for a certain time. You are gathering this watch time metric. That is your primary metric, that the what you want to gather. Because you're gathering a lot of watch time, people are spending more time watching your content on that platform, so you are getting more impressions. That's exactly how it works. In Instagram and TikTok cases, click-through is essentially the hook. The first half a second or the first 3 seconds, it used to be, is what's more important. So you can disrupt with a visual hook, you can disrupt with a title, you can disrupt with a audio like SFX, but getting people to pay attention right on the dot is the game on TikTok and Instagram, because it's short form content. On YouTube, it's your thumbnail as well as your hook. You have to, because if your hook is not great, you're not going to get watch time, and you have to tell great stories. There are storytelling techniques. I told you that this session is just too small for us to go in detail, and that this is what we reveal within the Accelerate program. If not, I will not have a business if I could reveal everything on this live webinar. So there's so many nuances, so many details. The devil is actually in the details, though. There's so many details within this practice that you need to master in order to be really great at this. But I'm sharing the first principle. So if you wanna eliminate chances, if you want to just go at it right off the bat, use experts to do it, you should come and talk with us at Accelerate. But I'm just giving you the first principle. So this is how the algorithm works. So you have to make sure that your content is great, first of all, genuine, and then that half a second, the first few seconds are very, very important to hook people in and get them to watch. That's the game. And then accumulate more watch time, and then you win. Cool. So if you don't measure, you can't improve. You can double down on what's working. That's what you would do. You know, whatever the content that gets more than, so if you're just starting, you're getting, let's say you're getting 200, 300 views, and then all of a sudden one piece of content gets 2,000 views. A lot of people make this mistake. They don't go and make that piece of content again and again and again. You must master, you must double down on what worked. It got 2,000 views for some reason. It might be the hook, it might be the content. It usually is the content, because you're not going to be able to create a great hook right off the bat when you're first starting out. So it is usually, very likely, it's the content itself. So, but then what you would do is take the content and make a better hook, do a better production, make sure your audio quality is better, make sure your video quality is better, make sure that your storytelling is intact, and then double down on that piece of content. A lot of people just go, okay, like I got 2,000 views, okay, cool, I'm just going to create another one. No, you have to create the same piece of content and double down on it. And this stops you from guessing. You know, you can't guess in this game. That's what we eliminate on Accelerator as well. We are bringing you that information, the analytics, so that you can double down, and gives you momentum through clarity. You need clarity in this. Like any other thing, any business that you're building, you need clarity. Why are messages being hidden? A lot of people haven't used ManyChat. That's interesting. Hey Charlie, what would you say is an ideal skip rate on Instagram? I don't have that information actually. I can, you know, find that information. I wouldn't like go into that much detail. We haven't. I don't know, Ronat. I have my head of growth here. If you have any insights on that, let me know. Cool. Yeah, it's a valuable session. The funnel thing is my favorite part. I'm doing a TT research, the TikTok research, and struggling with creating hooks, getting more impressions, and the funnel. I just want to show you a friend. That's a duck. No, sorry, I don't know. I think it's a goose. Cool. All right. So data builds confidence even with small numbers. So it's very important that you are measuring. So track these three first. Reach, are people seeing your content? Engagement, are they reacting or connecting? Conversion, are they doing what you want them to do? So this is my Instagram analytics through the web app. You can see I've generated 1.4 million views. I think this is a week. So I'm getting more non-followers these days because we're running ads also for Accelerate. And I have reached 340,000 accounts, and these are my top content. Oh, actually the content that I mentioned earlier got 334,000 views. And Reels are my best piece of content. Stories, people watch a lot of stories as well. It's mostly followers and posts, and yeah. Cool. So you can't really see these analytics here, but you would use Meta Business Suite to check these analytics: reach, engagement, and conversion. Let me show you. So these are the things that you are checking on: reach, impressions, views per post, follower growth. For visibility, reach is for visibility. Engagement is how many people are resonating with your content. So likes, comments, shares, saves, and DMs. You want to be tracking those. Conversion, how many people are taking action. Link clicks, leads captured through ManyChat also gives the ability to track how many people are engaging. Sales bookings, if active, you can track these on your landing page as well through your CRM. So this is Meta Suite pretty much. On Meta Suite, you can see 11 million views. This is 28 days. This is a bit of an old graphic though, but yeah, 3.4 million reach, content interaction 272,000, link clicks 600, 600 link clicks. So this is what you would be looking: views, reach, content interactions, and link clicks. But then also, this is just the high level view of it. You also want to go through exact content, and then ascend them by reach, and then look at, okay, cool, this piece of content within the past 28 days got me the most number of views. I'm going to double down on that. That's pretty much the practice. How many likes and reactions, and which piece of content got me the most likes and reactions. So it also depends on your purpose. Let's say that you want people to go to your sign up to your webinar right now, so it's more engagement based. So within the next 2 weeks you want to get people more engaged with your content. Then you would sort them by likes and or comments actually, and then see which piece of content got the most amount of comments for you. Just double down on that content. Just do the same topic, do a better hook for that topic. Make sure your production is way far more quality. Do another format, maybe put a title on top, different packaging, and then you can possibly get the same amount of engagement, but insert your offer into that piece of content. So that's how you use analytics. Eventually it just becomes a natural thing where you're not really going after analytics, and you're just naturally building. You're just telling stories, and you get people like us to manage your analytics and say, hey, like this one because of this, and then you just pretty much do that. But most importantly, you just need to enjoy the process. That's all there is. And simply a weekly check-in, 15-minute max. Top 3 performing posts, reach and engagement, look at that. Worst performing posts, you want to drop them, never do those topics. Total follower gain loss, understand whether you're gaining followers, losing followers. If you're losing followers, you're probably talking about something that are not really important. We actually faced this problem with Daniel Lubetsky one time. We were losing followers more than that we were gaining. I mean, I know we were not losing followers, but we were the content was going great. It was getting like 2-3 million views, but then our follower growth wasn't really reflecting that. So then we looked at the analytics and saw, hey, these views that we're getting actually are contributing to unfollowers, and that was really, really interesting to see. So we needed to archive that post in order to get more followers, because it just meant like people are unfollowing him because they don't agree with this piece of content that he created. So that's not what we want. We want people to follow him. So we archived that post, and then talked about that topic in a different way. So total follower gain loss, you need to be tracking that. Most clicked link, if any. Not really relevant at this time, if you're using ManyChat, but yeah. So if these happen, you might want to pivot. Great reach, but no comments. Content is too generic. High views, low followers, poor call to action. High engagement, low conversions, wrong audience. Stagnant growth for 3+ weeks, revisit niche or content type. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're stuck, you can diagnose like this. Is my niche clear enough? Am I saying anything different from the crowd? Am I making it easy for people to take the next step? Am I being consistent enough to get real data? Is my niche clear enough? Is usually enough for you to understand in the beginning of your journey. If you are very vague, you're talking about motivation as a private chef, very likely you're not going to get views. Very likely people are not going to give a fuck about what you can say. If you're talking about your family while being a real estate agent, very likely people are not going to listen to you. I mean, there could be a way that you can marry the two, but still you got to be talking about what you want people to be listening about, and then you have to be saying something different from the crowd. If you're just saying the same thing as your competitor and your competitor has 10 million followers, very likely you're not going to get views, right? You need to be unique, like Kanye West. You need to be extremely simple and elegant. It's easy to be vague, it's easy to be complex. It's way harder to be simple and elegant. So find that balance. Less words, more impact. You need to be consistent enough. There was a question earlier from Tisat whether you want to be posting daily. You should be posting daily to get real data, to be honest. No fancy tech is needed to track the data. Instagram Insights more than enough. LinkedIn Analytics, Metrico is a great platform that we use. Notion, Google Sheets, yeah. Anyway, so performance is directional, not emotional. If you don't get views right off the bat, you should be happy, because that's a platform for you to learn. If you're getting views right off the bat, you should be happy again. Either way you should be happy. Be happy always. But if you are not getting views, that's a great way to learn. You need to that's you have shot your shot, and then now now you just have to direct your shots at other places and see what clicks, and then eventually we'll find one that gets that 2,000 views or 3,000 views, and you just got to double down. Look at patterns, not individual posts, right? So you would say, okay, like this, I doubled down on it, got 2,000 views, and then the next one you got 300 views again, that same piece of content. Cool, no worries. And then you did another one, got 300 views, no worries. You did another one, got 600 views. Okay, I did the same topic in the 600 viewed one and the 2,000 viewed one. What have I changed here? Okay, so your hook is different here. Maybe I'm gonna do the hook of the 2,000 viewed one and do the same topic. Cool, do that, got 3,000 views. Cool, that's how you have to think about the patterns. Test, track, tweak. If something works, do more of it. So, recapping: clarity, niche and POV, content, 3-pillar rotation, proof and honesty, incredibility, and community. Talk to people. That's pretty much it. And the tangible things that you can use is this Notion content engine. We actually built this with years of practice. I actually got this from a social media manager when I was working with Davey, and then we just developed it further and further, and now it's at a really good place. And this content engine will help you manage your content. You can go from ideas to writing review, filming, ready to edit, editing for review, ready to be posted, published. And this is a piece of content within this card. It's just an example, so you could call it my story. And then you can actually you can get the access to this engine if you press on that link actually. So go from this is status for all the status that I mentioned. Format, which format you're going for. So we call it lo-fi, hi-fi, image post. What you can call it anytime, but what we call lo-fi is like a podcast reel. We call hi-fi reel where we put VFX and SFX and all of that, visual animations. And then pillars, you can define your pillars. This is a little bit advanced right now. Like if you're a real estate agent, just create real estate specific content. But you can come up with 2 pillars. I don't want to mention it in this live webinar. Maybe I'll do another webinar about pillars. And then sitting with who's currently sitting with, who's responsible for it, script writer, editor, writing due date, filming due date, edit due date, publishing date, inspiration, what I want to be creating. So you would just have an inspiration, like, so brief, create a short 6-second video of me talking down the barrel of a camera, telling my story in hero's journey format. Storytelling techniques, hero's journey, I can cover that in another live webinar. Script link, raw file, b-roll, final edit link. We actually use this platform called Frame.io to review content. It's a great platform. Well, that link is not available, but I can show you another one maybe. Let me show you this. So for example, this is now ready to be posted today on Robert's platform. So this video,
failure is a learned response. When you were a kid, you didn't know the meaning of no. People said to you,
I mean, we are at a different level with this, so you don't need to be creating this kind of content when you're starting off. But let's say that I'm not happy with this, I can just leave a comment saying, hey, start with a yacht or whatever. You can leave specific comments on Frame, and Frame is free for a certain extent, so which is great. But yeah, so you can use this engine to manage all of your content, and the beauty of it is that these publishing date, edit due date, all of these get filtered into this publishing calendar. So for example, like I showed you on Robert's, this is our publishing calendar on Robert's page. All of this content are ready to be posted. So and then all of these you can check out as well, how you would set up your profile. The style guide, there's nothing here. You need to define your colors and color palettes and everything. Let me show you. What are we going for, the color palette, the typography, animation and mood boards. All of this is what we've defined for Robert, but you can define yourself as well. When for Accelerate clients, we actually help you define this right off the bat. Content inspiration, archive any passwords, and this is a storytelling format. I might actually cover this at a different stage, but if you come into Accelerate, we actually start the program here, like talking to you about the storytelling format, how to start with a strong hook. A lot of people make this mistake. They deliver the lesson right at the beginning. You need to be delivering the lesson right at the end. Delayed gratification. You need to delay the lesson. You need to be telling stories before the lesson and deliver the lesson at the end, so that people watch for a long time to learn the lesson. For example, let's say the lesson is drink tea before going to bed, for example, let's say. So I would say, hey, this technique helped me sleep 4x better, or something like that, would be the hook. And then I say, I'm Charlie, I'm an entrepreneur, I work 14 hours a day, and I was struggling to sleep. Setting the scenario, structured, listicle structured hook, and I'm adding credibility. And then if I said, drink tea before going to bed, that's the lesson. Why would people watch after that? What I would do instead and say, when I was small, I used to go to bed by scrolling on Instagram feed, and I would just scroll, and I would sleep at around 3 a.m. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I would work until like 5 a.m. and then go to bed. So I always struggled with sleep. So I'm telling a story. I'm giving you a reason to care about my situation. And then I tried getting medication for it. I went into several sleep doctors and I spoke to them. I spoke to a therapist, but nothing helped until I discovered this tea that helped me put myself to sleep. And I would just make the tea, put the tea into a cup, make a little bit of, put a little bit of hot water, make a tea and drink, and I slept like a log. So drink tea before going to bed and drink this specific tea, and if you want the name of the tea, comment tea and I'll send you the link. I mean, that's how you would do, position your content. But yeah, so storytelling format, and then the content board. So this is a great place to start. So if you want this engine, you can actually go to that link and then download it. But yeah, so these are our success stories with Accelerate. This person came in. Her name is Paulette. She actually came in wanting to grow her personal brand, and she was just getting like 100, 200 views, and she wanted to grow a community to listen to a podcast, so she could publish a book eventually, because her publisher said that you need to have at least like 2,000 people listening to your podcast in order for you to publish a book. And then we managed to crack it open for her. She got like, I think this video is at 2.3 million views right now, and then she got like heaps of people on a podcast. She went on to publish a book, and success story. She's still our client. And another one, Matt Tinkler, he came in. He was doing well on YouTube, but then he came in, not being able to crack open Instagram and TikTok. We started working with him 3 months ago, and we're getting 41,000, 46,000. But don't get me wrong, we also are still testing pieces of content, but we're doubling down on what works, and then that's the practice. You just need to keep going, and then analytics, the metrics, refining the offer. This is what helps eventually. So this is what we create when you come in as an Accelerate member. We create a custom strategy to go off, and then we give you 2 pillars to work with. So in Matt's case, because he's a musician, he has a music product to sell eventually. One of the pillars would be, if your drums sound like this, he would play the drums. Here's how to fix it, and then he would just show how to do it. Reacting to popular music and how they were made, that's another pillar. We actually dropped this pillar already because it didn't work, but we are doing this, where he's pointing at the screen and then explaining how to fix your music. Working really well. So this is what we create for you on Accelerate, and then we jump on 490 calls with you, coach you on a daily basis on Slack. It's just a great program, but we have a very limited number of seats. Inquire and see if you know your why, then that really helps if we can work together. This is our landing page if you want to go check it out. So if you want help putting a personal brand into action, a 3-month program with us will help you build a profitable brand. But you need to give us a goal to achieve, and we'll go for it. And that goal has to be specific, a SMART goal. You need to give us a number. Hey, like, I want 200 leads on my CRM on my Go High level, then we can go for it. And then we'll create a custom action plan, and we'll do the team placements. We'll find you an editor, we'll find you script writers, we'll find you social media coordinators, whoever the talent that you may need, we'll find you. Because I use my personal brand to hire people, and I've had so many people applying for jobs with me. And we do live calls. We have a course library which you can watch, and then we give you live feedback on everything that you create, your scripts, your raw files, your edits, your posting, everything. We review every single step of the way, but you need to write your own scripts. But we are coming up with a custom GPT which will help you, but it's very important that you write your own scripts, because we don't know the subject matter expertise that you have. So you need to tell us, hey, like, this is what I can give to the people, and then we help you refine it. That's the purpose here, not us writing the script. But eventually you can give it to somebody else. And then you can also start with the 7-day free trial. If you're not happy within 7 days, we just return your money back. But we got to the end of it. This is a live Q&A. Your questions can be answered, so ask me anything. Let's go. So I'm gonna go from the beginning. Yeah, so how do you figure out the best hooks for videos? So the easiest way to approach this would be to look at what your competitors are doing, like what hooks have worked for them, and then you can just follow the same hooks, is what I would do. So I'm going to start a new AI automation company from Sri Lanka, but need to make personal brand first. I'm coming from poor family, but have a big dream. Well, I hope that helped. Um, cool. Let me see. Okay, I'll just, there's so many questions, so I'm just gonna, wait for you guys to ask me questions. Do you keep all content to be posted on a certain month ready a month before? I mean, for our key clients, we actually maintain content 2 weeks in advance. We don't do all of the content at once. Like we don't do like month ahead. It just doesn't make sense because sometimes we do like right now the content landscape is like you need to be talking about current trends, what's going on in the news right now, and then comment on them, like Super Bowl, for example, and Bad Bunny. That's what, like Maltbot with Open Claw with Robert because he's a cybersecurity expert, and what's going on in the world of the ice and everything in Daniel's context. So very important that we stay on the current trends so that we don't really manage, we don't create content, but we have evergreen content that we manage. How do I set immediate goal for content creation? I just feel confused when planning for the next few weeks or months. Immediate goals for content creation. I mean, you just have to, use that content engine and come up with a bunch of ideas, like what do I want to be talking about. So you don't have to necessarily stay on the current trends or anything, which you can create on the spot sometimes. Just put down the topics that you want to talk about, and then you can evaluate them and see, okay, cool, like I'm going to create this content on this date, I'm going to create this content on this date, and then once you have all the ideas, then you can segregate them into dates, and then you can just go at it. Initially you don't have to create 2-3 pieces of content per week. You can actually start off with just 2 content per week maybe, and then eventually increase the frequency. But you just need ideas. You need to come up with ideas. Practice that. Eventually you'll be really good at coming up with ideas. Is it okay if I post as many trial reels as? Is there some limit for that? Also, if I trials go viral, is it ideal to keep it on trials? This is a great question. So for people who don't have context to what trials are, trials are just this option that Instagram enable where you can show your content to a random audience that is not your follower base to see whether that content would work. So how we use trials is that we pick the best performing content from our clients. We change the hook a little bit. Like initially we would just run the same piece of content, and then Instagram sent us a notification saying people like us would hack it. Instagram sent a notification saying, hey, you can't post the same piece of content twice, we will ban you. So we created original content by changing the hook a little bit, changing the story a little bit, changing the packaging a little bit. We would put a title, like say for example, if it's like a talking head of a podcast, we would just put a title here. But now the next packaging is that we put the title on top, and then we post it on trials in like we bulk create it. We do like 10-15 iterations of that, and then we just post it all on trials. And then sometimes some of them would get like 1,000, 2,000, but some of them would go to like millions. But if that piece of content has been posted before on the feed, we don't move it to the feed, we keep it on trials. But if it's something that has not been posted before, we move it to the feed. But we are now seeing whatever that works on trials, once moved to the feed, that stops getting views for some reason. So just test, trial and test it. Well, literally trial and test it. But I would highly suggest that you keep the content on trials if it's helping you get followers. You can actually check the trial reel performance as well through a platform like Metricool, or I think even on MetaSuite you can see the performance, how many followers you're gaining, how many views you're getting. If it's getting really good level of followers, getting good views consistently, there's no reason for you to move it to the feed. You just keep it there. What do you think about a realtor interviewing experienced realtors? Will that help me, or the leads will follow the experience? No, I think that definitely will help you. If you have unique questions to ask these experienced realtors, then that will definitely help you. And that's such a cool positioning as well. You as a realtor learning from other realtors is such a fresh perspective. The only problem that you're going to have is the production, the limitations of production, because you have to go and find other realtors, interview them, because you want to be able to do this at scale. So I would highly suggest that you book other realtors time and then ask multiple questions from one realtor, at least like 14-15 questions. So you would interview about 5 realtors within a day maybe, and then you have like 14 into 5, that's 70 questions accumulated to post. So that's like two months worth of content. So that's how you would think about it. I'm developing Covix AI and AI first platform aimed at simplifying our business, handle customers and work. Cool. Unfortunately, Instagram is super strict. It flags so many trials. That hasn't been our experience though. But we actually post a lot of trials. Do I have to invest in a good camera, lights, tripod before getting started with accelerated programs? No, you don't have to invest in anything. All you need is your phone and maybe a tripod. You don't even need a tripod if you have a hand. If I publish AI automation company, how to get clients and manage social media. How to get clients. If I publish AI automation company. You first need to have like a unique perspective, especially with AI. The content that I'm seeing right now is on X. People are saying, overnight I did this with my AI, and here's your problem and here's how I fixed it. If you want this playbook, comment this word and I'll send it to you. And then they are posting on X, so you can do the same thing. X is a great platform if you have an AI automation tool. Thanks, Kenneth. I hope we start working together as well. So I guess this would be the end of my webinar. I am really thankful to all of you for joining this, and thank you so much. And I hope that was helpful. Hopefully I'll do another webinar. Please let me know in the comments after this gets posted onto my YouTube if you need another webinar. Actually we're not posting this on my YouTube. We're going to use it for internal use, but maybe we will. Let's see. Let me know. But thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you on the next one.